Renaissance art. Renaissance art mainly focused on secularist and humanist ideas. Humanism of the Renaissance was the idea that the church should be an important aspect of life, yet not everything in life. A humanist may feel that one should make decisions based on their own moral system and not on the church's. A secularist of the Renaissance would feel that the church should be more focused on saving lives and bringing people closer to God, rather than the politics they were focused on at the time. The first section in our gallery contains artworks that have to do with social reform. Our first painting, Susanna and the Elders by Gentileschi, is a beautiful work, with both female and male figures looking very lifelike. Here we see the anger and fear Gentileschi had for men, which may have stemmed from the fact that Gentileschi was raped by her art teacher at age 19. Susanna in the painting feels threatened by these two men, which is clearly how Gentileschi felt when she was raped. The next painting by Gentileschi, Judith and the maidservant, they are depicted as having the head of the man they were just killed. Here she shows her utter hatred for the man that raped her and possibly other men. This painting also shows humanism because you cannot tell this painting is religious by looking at the content of the art itself, which is very humanist. Next we have the painting of John the Baptist by Da Vinci. Many believed he was a homosexual, and that Da Vinci placed his love features onto John. This directly is against what the church believes, and if he didn't hide this cleverly, he surely would have been excommunicated or worse. Whether this is true or not, it is a magnificent painting that shows shadows as an ability to cast realism. Next, in our mythological works, we see Botticelli and other painters showing their magnificent depictions of Greek mythology. Venus and Mars, our first painting, has a complex working in the accuracy of both the man and the woman. Venus, in the picture, has great beauty and has lifelike hands, hairstyle, and face. Mars has a very accurate depiction of what a strong man's muscles on his abdomen and biceps may look like. This represents humanism, for the last time of great education and scientific advancements was during the Greek and Roman Empire, and this is a Greek mythological work. Sisyphus, our next painting, is believed in Greek mythology to be a king who is being punished by being forced to roll a large boulder uphill for all eternity. And in Sisyphus, by Titian, one can see the use of dark colors to truly show the pain and despair that Sisyphus may have had while lifting the large boulder. There is also a lot of anatomy that is stressed during the Renaissance, and we can see that here. In Head of Medusa by Rubens, we can see Rubens manipulating the light to focus clearly on Medusa. In all of these paintings, we see references to Greek and classical learning, which is a way for a painter to protest that one should focus more attention on education and seeking knowledge, not just getting to heaven. Both of these are humanist and secularist ideas. Now we move on to our Madonnas. In all of the Madonnas we are about to show you, there's a key aspect of realism. In Madonna Lita by Da Vinci, there is one major sign of humanism, and that is on the back wall, the windows are of classical architecture, making them Da Vinci's way of calling out for the classics. In Madonna and Child by Raphael, there is excellent shading done on the baby's body where it almost hits the mother's breasts perfectly. In the background of the painting, there is a building with striking similarities to those of classical architecture. The building includes a dome and small windows. Both of the two previous paintings shows no signs of cross or indications that the baby and mother are Jesus and Mary. The church may see it as a beautiful painting, but a humanist will know that this is a way to say there is beauty in other things besides religion. The final painting of this section is Passero Madonna by Titian. The very first thing that catches your attention is the arch, which are classical architecture. There are also columns which are classical architecture. This painting shows shading by making everyone and the setting dark and gloomy except for baby Jesus and Mary. Next, we are moving on to paintings that are solely to do with references to Greek and classical learning. The first painting shown is The Cleansing of the Temple by El Greco. This painting is not only an excellent use of perspective in showing the stretch of columns running diagonally, but it also has classical architecture in the columns and arches, showing how El Greco supports education and learning aside from the churches. Next is School of Athens by Raphael. This painting is extremely humanist, as it shows not only the greatest thinkers of the Greek civilization, but also the great thinkers of Muslims and Arabs. At the time, those groups of people were still seen as enemies to the church and to the religion. But Raphael still attempts to say that living through education may be equally as important as through religion. In Marriage of the Virgin, the scene may seem rather beautiful, but it is more about Raphael showing us once again classical architecture in the background. This is a subtle detail, but the use of technique in drawing the background above the main scene, it is more obvious and stands out more than most backgrounds might. Now we have artworks relating to everyday life. These paintings are deeply connected to humanism and secularism, for they show us that not everything you do is to get into heaven, and that people should focus more on living life. In Bruegel's A Wedding Feast, we see an everyday setting. Bruegel clearly doesn't care for any religion in this painting, but rather shows the eloquent simplicity that life can offer. He also shows peasants no less in this painting, and it is even regarded as a peasant wedding sometimes. Normal paintings of the Italian Renaissance include mostly biblical and mythological stories, but the Northern Renaissance more focused on the beauty and nature of simple things. Another masterpiece by Bruegel is The Harvesters. This shows life at the farm for your average human. They are not worrying about the afterlife, they are in the present moment worrying about their jobs. Here we see great perspective as well, for when you go back to more lands and rolling fields, the people will get smaller. Lastly, for this section, we have a winter landscape with the bird trap. This, like others, show humanism through the absence of the church. By having beauty outside of the church and in the landscape itself, Bruegel is showing how good things can be found outside of the church and outside of the religion, a humanist thought. Next, we have paintings relating to the beauty of the natural world. These paintings are not at all related to the church, meaning that they are secular. The first painting, The Large Turf by Dürer, shows great realism with the water reflecting the nearby weeds and grass. All of the blades of grass are in all different directions, which shows that this is a real-world environment. Next is Hair, also by Dürer. This is a beautifully realistic painting of a rabbit. Every single hair appears to have been hand-drawn. The hair also has a shadow next to it, and it looks as if there is a real picture taken. The next painting, of Forest at Dawn with Deer Hunt, uses shading very well, which is a telltale sign that it is by Rubens. The light pokes through the trees, creating a nice lighting effect. The Vitruvian Man, our next painting, is an anatomical advancement. Through a mere sketch, this helped Da Vinci see what everyone that he drew would look like in various positions. He also drew the human body in a realistic way. This secular painting also shows the beauty of humans. All of these paintings are meant to show that beauty doesn't have to come from God, and it can be found in nature and in humans, which is unlike the opinion the church had at the time. To conclude, the paintings shown here today, while they may be masterpieces, they are also made with humanism and secularism in mind. Many of the artists featured here today were humanists themselves and fought through their art to spread their values.